So, today we are going to talk about feminism. What is the literal meaning of feminism? Don't get offended, it's not a hatred word. We are going to talk about what actually feminism means. I'm not here to talk something against men, so be sure about that. First of all, be sure about that feminism is not against men. The concept of feminism is not against anybody on this planet, and this is the beauty about this word. The biggest misinterpretation of feminism on a large scale is that it's against men. This is the biggest misinterpretation of the word feminism. फेमिनिज्म बेशक औरतों के हकों की बात करने से शुरू हुआ था, बट अब ये सिर्फ औरतों के हकों की बात करने तक सीमित नहीं है. सो it's not against men, it's actually against patriarchal system. It's unlike patriarchy, which means it's unlike patriarchy. And it's not tit for tat. It's not a revenge. So, boys, we are not even concerned about taking revenge because you dominated us for centuries and you are still doing that. Yes, you're still doing that, and it will seriously continue. We do not want to take control over you or over the world as you did. Instead, it's a liberating idea. Feminism is a liberating idea. Feminism is a liberating idea. It's even a political perspective and a democratic idea. Now, literally, the definition of feminism is the support for social equality for all genders in opposition to patriarchy and sexism, which means it's not against any gender. In fact, it is the support for social equality of all genders. All genders means it's not only including men and women. It's also including the other genders which exist in the human world. Which clearly means it's the fight with the system called patriarchy and not with men. And for God's sake, it's not an alien term. Yes, it's not an alien idea. To highlight, you need to realize and understand that people following patriarchy are not just men, they are women. So, how can this fight be against men? It's against the system, that's patriarchy. This is the literal meaning actually. Most of the men, actually, most of the men only misinterpret it कि it's against men and feminism, ये feminist बनती करती हैं. Feminist means they want to take control over men, they want to take control over the world. मतलब मर्द लोग ज़्यादा हैं इस दुनिया में जो ये कहते हैं, जो ये सोचते हैं कि फेमिनिस्ट होना मतलब कि यू वांट समथिंग टू बी तुम्हें यू वांट कि तुम मेन को कंट्रोल करो जैसे मेन ने तुम्हें कंट्रोल किया था फॉर सेंचुरीज विच इज़ नॉट द केस. ये एक्चुअली में सच नहीं है. फेमिनिज्म ये नहीं बोल रही, बिल्कुल भी नहीं बोल रही. सो यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड कि फेमिनिज्म का एक्चुअल मीनिंग क्या है, फेमिनिज्म कैसे स्टार्ट हुई थी एंड फेमिनिज्म किस चीज़ को बोलते हैं, मतलब व्हाट इज़ द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ फेमिनिज्म. This is very important to understand because today in the social media there's lots and lots of comments and judgments for feminism. They are following it blindly and unconsciously. We are following it blindly and unconsciously. What are we following blindly and unconsciously? We are following patriarchy from so many ages. It's been forced on us beyond questions. We have women making it more rigid and ensuring it that we are following it from their sons, their daughters, their grandsons, and their daughters in law. I mean, more than men, there are women who are following patriarchy religiously. The rigidness also comes out because of their frustration and from the wounds of exploitation they faced in their earlier life. This is the story of women. The rigidness of following patriarchy comes out because of their frustration and from the wounds of exploitation they faced in their earlier life. पेट्रियार्की के सबसे कट्टर फॉलोअर्स मेन से ज़्यादा फीमेल्स ही हैं because men always chose women to follow something religiously. मर्दों ने हर चीज़ बनाई है यहाँ पे. आप ये देखिए कि कोई भी इस दुनिया में धर्म नहीं जो किसी फीमेल ने बनाया हो, वो तक मर्दों ने बनाई. Every system, everything here in this world is made by men. It's not, nothing is made by a woman. Men made everything and they left women to follow it religiously. And then women followed them so religiously that they became so rigid in it, even more than men. क्योंकि women हमेशा the second sex रही हैं and women को हमेशा ये inferior feel कराया गया. So they have been always in the second position and they always thought that we don't know anything about this world, we cannot make a system, we cannot do the things, it's always the men to do something. Now here comes feminism to change this, actually, to change all this. Again, it's a big point that it's not just for women, it's for all genders now. People argue and hate this word because it inherently suggests a woman. People say only feminism and not any other word when it comes about all genders. Okay, just understand why and how does feminism include all the genders, whereas initially it was only women to include into feminism. Well, clearly because this fight was started by women, because the biggest inequality in this world is that of a man and a woman. So the fight initially was started for a woman and by a woman. However, feminism has now evolved over the years and has included all the sexes that exist in this world and that face inequality, means all the LGBT community is included in the feminism. Feminism supports all the LGBT community. Because earlier it was just, I mean, you can say it was just realized that the biggest inequality or exploitation is faced by a woman. बट इन ग्रेजुअली सबको ये पता चला कि सिर्फ विमेन नहीं है जो एक्सप्लॉइट किए जा रहे हैं इस प्लैनेट पे, इट्स all the other genders except men who are being dominated and who are being exploited. Feminism is also against the discrimination based on caste, color, creed, and religion. So it's not only gender, it is also included. The discrimination based on caste, color, creed, and religion is also opposed in feminism. So it's basically the idea that supports and is supported by men too. So you can say that even the men who believe in equal treatment and equal rights to everybody, that men is also called a feminist. So feminist हम उसको बोलेंगे जो equal rights और equal treatment में believe करता है, irrespective of anything. वो men भी हो सकता है, वो women भी हो सकती है, और वो कोई और gender भी हो सकता है. So feminism इतना clear है. वो सब नहीं है feminism जो इधर social media में चल रहा है. Feminist can be anyone. So it's not just a word, it's basically a theory. And see, the gender is a social term. It was a इन जेंडर दोनों में थोड़ा सा फर्क है, हल्का सा फर्क है दोनों में, दोनों सेम नहीं है, दोनों सिनोनिम्स नहीं है. जो जेंडर वर्ड है दैट्स अ सोशल वर्ड, सोशल कॉन्सेप्ट, एंड सेक्स इज अ बायोलॉजिकल कॉन्सेप्ट, विच मीन्स जेंडर जो है वो सोसाइटी ने इन्वेंट किया है वर्ड. सेक्स इज अ बायोलॉजिकल कॉन्सेप्ट. ठीक है. जेंडर के साथ सोसाइटी ने बहुत चीज़ें ऐड कर दी. फॉर एग्जाम्पल जेंडर, दैट्स फीमेल जेंडर. फीमेल जेंडर के साथ लोगों ने एसोशिएट किया है द फीलिंग्स लाइक कामनेस, द क्वालिटीज लाइक कामनेस, पोलाइटनेस, है ना, द क्वालिटी टू फॉलो somebody, to care somebody without question. That's associated with female gender. Whereas men gender, male gender के साथ क्या associate किया है? Bravery and that not so emotional बंदा, है ना. So you see, ये जो gender word है ये सिर्फ हमारी biological differences के वजह से नहीं है. It's way more than that जो सोसाइटी ने बना दिया. So feminism is against all this discrimination. So you can say कि feminist वो है जो equal opportunity, equal rights और equal treatment में believe करता है. और वो believe करने वाला इंसान मेल भी हो सकता है, फीमेल भी हो सकता है, या कोई और जेंडर भी हो सकता है. So feminism is that clear. Now looking on the history of feminism, the word feminism was coined by Charles Fourier from the word feminine. He was a French philosopher and a socialist. ये मूवमेंट फेमिनिज्म अपीयर होती है 1872 में इन नीदरलैंड्स एंड फ्रांस. 1872, right. Then in 1890 it appeared in Great Britain. Then in 1910 in USA this movement appeared with the achievement of women getting right to vote, which means in USA around 1910 में USA में women को right to vote मिला था, which means कि उसके पहले women को right to vote भी नहीं था. So you are clear with the thing कि right to vote मिलने में भी हमें fight करना पड़ा. So it took 72 years for the suffrage movement to get this achievement. 72 years लगे the suffrage movement को women को right to vote दिलवाने में. So it was not that easy. Then we, the Indian women, got it with the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's Indian Constitution. Indian Constitution में Dr. B.R. Ambedkar ने and the other whole community जो बैठी थी institution लिखने के लिए, उन्होंने Indian women के लिए right to vote Constitution में ही लिख दिया था. So Indian women didn't have to fight for this right, whereas for the other rights they had to fight. But women in the West, उनको 72 years तक ये suffrage movement चलानी पड़ी to get the right to vote. So the 50% population, even more than 50% of the population of the world को right to vote ही नहीं था पहले. It took 260 years for Oxford and Cambridge University to allow females to study in them. मैरी वॉल्स्टनक्राफ्ट हैं जो लिखती हैं अपनी एक बुक में अ विंडिकेशन ऑफ द राइट्स टू वुमेन. I do not wish women to have power over men, but over themselves. बड़ा ही सुंदर सा कोट है उनका. इनकी एक बुक आई थी अ विंडिकेशन ऑफ द राइट्स फॉर वुमेन इन 1793, which was declared as the feminist declaration of independence. तो feminist जो वर्ड है ना, फेमिनिज्म जो मूवमेंट है, उसमें ये बुक सबसे पहली बुक मानी जाती है. अंडरस्टूड दिस कि ये जो पेट्रियार्की है ये उनको भी हर्ट कर रही है बाय वन और द अदर वे. सो इट this patriarchy tells them, for example, patriarchy tells them that they are just money making robots, whereas women is a child bearing machine, and women को पूरा टाइम उनका केयर करना पड़ेगा चिल्ड्रन का. उससे पहले सी फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल women को केयर करना पड़ेगा for her family, and she has to do sacrifices for her family, and then she has to sacrifice for her husband, and then she has to sacrifice for her children. Means she has to sacrifice herself, her desire, her wishes, her life, even her health, for everyone who is around her life, who is in her life, particularly the men in her life. Whereas men को patriarchy क्या बोल रही है, that you are just money making robots and you are the breadwinners of the family, and if you cannot bring money to the house, that means you are useless, and you are the most strongest person. You cannot show your weakness to the society, and not to a woman particularly. Men like Justin Balgani, they are opening up with this frustration of being man enough. तो इनका एक टेड टॉक है विच इज़ वेरी फेमस, यू कैन लिसन टू दिस. इन्होंने बताया है दैट हाउ दे आर फ्रस्ट्रेटेड ऑफ बीइंग मैन इनफ. So it's pretty natural to be frustrated with this concept of man enough. We are hearing this news continuously that men are being trapped into false cases of sexual molestation or demanding of dowry. सो अब ये देखिए कि अगर वुमेन को इतनी सेंचुरीज तक एक्सप्लॉइट या सप्रेस किया ना होता, तो आज वुमेन के हक के लिए, वुमेन के हित में इतने रिजिड और इतने स्ट्रिक्ट कानून ना बनते. जिन तो आज ऐसे कानून बनते ही ना. इतने रिजिड और इतने स्ट्रिक्ट कानून मेन के अगेंस्ट और वुमेन के हक में कभी बनते ही ना, जिनको आज औरतें मेन के खिलाफ, मर्दों के खिलाफ गलत तरीके से यूज़ कर रही हैं. ये डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस का केस कितने आजकल सुनते हैं कि डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस का केस पड़ गया किसी मैन पे, एंड ना सिर्फ उस पे पड़ता है ये डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस का केस, फिर उसकी पूरी फैमिली पे पड़ता है. और जब ये पता चले कि ये डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस का केस फॉल्स है, ये दहेज का केस फॉल्स है, डाउरी का केस फॉल्स है, तो यू कैन जस्ट इमेजिन कि उस मर्द की लाइफ और उस मर्द के परिवार की लाइफ कितनी ज़्यादा बर्बाद होती है. एंड इट्स फेमिनिज्म टू चेंज ऑल दिस. ये सब कानून इसीलिए बनाएंगे. सो द क्वेश्चन अराइजेस, इज फेमिनिज्म नॉट नीडेड? Is feminism not worthy in this 21st century to exist? Is gender equality not for everyone? Just think about it. Thank you very much for watching this video till the end. And I humbly request you to please donate me if you want such videos in the future, and if you want our voice to be heard in the society till the end, till the last breath of our lives.